Prayers and Meditations, page 219. February 15, 1915. O Lord of Truth, thrice have I implored thy manifestation, invoking thee with deep fervor. Then, as always, the whole being made its total submission. At that moment, the consciousness perceived the individual being, mental, vital, and physical, covered all over with dust, and this being lay prostrate before thee, its forehead touching the earth, dust in the dust, and it cried to thee, O Lord, this being made of dust prostrates itself before thee, praying to be consumed with the fire of truth, that it may henceforth manifest only thee. Then thou saidst to it, Arise, thou art pure of all that is dust. And suddenly, in a stroke, all the dust sank from it like a cloak that falls on the earth, and the being appeared erect, always as substantial, but resplendent with a dazzling light.
Let it be for us also the dawn of a new life. Que la naissance de la nouvelle année soit une nouvelle naissance pour notre conscience, laissant le passé loin derrière nous, courons vers un avenir lumineux. Seigneur, l'année se meurt et notre gratitude.
March 3rd, 1915. On board the Kamomaru. Solitude, a harsh, intense solitude, and always this strong impression of having been flung headlong into a hell of darkness. Never at any moment of my life, in any circumstances, have I felt myself living in surroundings so entirely opposite to all that I am conscious of as true, so contrary to all that is the essence of my life. Sometimes, when the impression and the contrasts grow very intense, I cannot prevent my total submission from taking on a hue of melancholy, and the calm and mute converse with the Master within is transformed for a moment into an invocation that almost supplicates. O Lord, what have I done that thou hast thrown me thus into the sombre night? But immediately the aspiration rises still more ardent. Spare this being all weakness, suffer it to be the docile and clear-sighted instrument of thy work, whatever that work may be. For the moment, the clear-sightedness is lacking. Never was the future more veiled. It is as though we were moving towards a high, impenetrable wall, so far as the destiny of individual men is concerned. As for the destinies of nations and of the earth, they appear more distinctly. But of these, it is useless to speak. The future will reveal them clearly to all eyes, even of the most blind. March 4th, 1915. Always the same harsh solitude, but it is not painful, on the contrary. In it, more clearly than ever, is revealed the pure and infinite love in which the whole earth is immersed. By this love, all lives and is animated. The darkest shadows become almost translucent to let its stream flow through, and the intensest pain is transformed into potent bliss. Each turn of the propeller upon the deep ocean seems to drag me farther away from my true destiny, the one best expressing the divine will. Each passing hour seems to plunge me again deeper into that past with which I had broken, sure of being called to a new and vaster realizations. Everything seems to draw me back to a state of things totally contrary to the life of my soul, which reigns uncontested over outer activities. And despite the apparent sadness of my own situation, the consciousness is so firmly established in a world which passes beyond personal limitations on every side, that the whole being rejoices in a constant perception of power and love. In the material actuality, tomorrow lies dark and unreadable. No light, not even the faintest, reveals to my beleaguered gaze any indication, any presence of the divine. But something in the depths of consciousness turns to the invisible and sovereign witness and tells him, "Thou dost plunge me, O Lord, into the thickest darkness. This means that thou hast established thy light so firmly in me that thou knowest it will stand this perilous ordeal. Otherwise, wouldst thou have chosen me for the descent into the vortex of this hell as thy torchbearer? Wouldst thou have judged my heart strong enough not to fail, my hand firm enough not to tremble? And yet my individual being knows how weak and powerless it is. When thou dost not manifest thy presence, it is more denuded than most people who do not know or care for thee. In thee alone lies its strength and ability. If thou art pleased to make use of it, nothing will be too difficult to accomplish, no task too vast and complex. But if thou shouldst withdraw, just a poor child is left, capable only of nestling in thy arms and sleeping there in the sweet, dreamless sleep where nothing else exists but thou."